Good evening, TFC. My name is Reverend Tisha Williams, affectionately known as Her Grace in the TFC community, and I'm super excited to be here with you all tonight. Thank you so much again to your pastor, my brother, Christian Smith, for the wonderful invitation to join you again tonight. So, tonight, for the moments that we have to share, I want to speak from this subject: ripe for recon. We're coming tonight from the book of Numbers, chapter 13. I'm going to give you just a snippet of the text. God spoke to Moses, "Send men to scout out the country of Canaan that I am giving to the people of Israel." When Moses sent them off to scout out Canaan, he said, "Go up through the Negev and then into the hill country. Look the land over, see what it is like. Assess the people. Are they strong or weak? Are they few or many? Observe the land. Is it pleasant or harsh? Describe the towns where they live. Are they open camps or fortified with walls? And the soil, is it fertile or barren? Are there forests? And try to bring back a sample of the produce that grows there. This is the season for first ripe grapes." God spoke to Moses, "Send men to scout out the country of Canaan that I am giving to the people of Israel." Wherever you are right now, will you repeat to yourself, ripe for recon? In 1972, during the last days of the Vietnam War, 3 Special Forces soldiers were recruited by their commanding officer for a special mission to bring a close to the conflict by robbing the Bank of Hanoi. With no one to corroborate their story that they were under orders to rob the bank, they were arrested and taken back home to be court-martialed. Before the trial, they managed to escape and go into hiding in the Los Angeles underground. For the next dozen years, they survived as soldiers of fortune, aiding those in trouble in the U.S. and overseas. This merry band of mercenaries is led by Lieutenant Colonel John Hannibal Smith and Lieutenant Templeton Peck, usually called Face. The team's pilot is Captain H.M. Howling Mad Murdoch. And finally, there is the team's strongman and mechanic, Sergeant First Class B.A. Baracus. By now, you have surmised that the Special Forces team of which I speak is none other than the A-Team. Hello, 80s babies. When Hannibal hears word that someone wants to hire the A-Team, he puts them through tests to see if they are a good person. And after determining they are not military police, then declares, "You just hired the A-Team." In other words, Hannibal and the team engage in recon or reconnaissance before they engage in any mission. And as we tuned in weekly from 1983 to 1987, today we tune into the text to find a team of 12 solicited to scout out Canaan, rangers recruited by God and led by the major we call Moses for the ultimate recon mission. It's right here in verse 1. God commands Moses to send men to scout out the country of Canaan that I am giving to the people of Israel. In other words, God is requesting recon. But what is recon? Recon is short for reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is a preliminary survey or mission to gain information by visual observation or other detection methods about the activities and resources of an enemy, potential enemy, or geographic characteristics of a particular area. And as I received my marching orders to engage with this text, I thought it best to participate in some recon of my own by interrogating a U.S. Marine Corps sergeant that I call Larry Williams. And in my briefing, he provided intel on the intricacies of recon, chiefly that there are different types of reconnaissance. And as we take a seat in the situation room, we find military strategist Moses mobilizes many of them. First, there's civil-oriented reconnaissance, which focuses on the civil dimension of the battle space, the areas, the structures, the capabilities, organizations, people. We see it here as Moses commands his spies to go up through the Negev and then into the hill country. Look the land over and see what it is like. Assess the people. Are they strong or weak? Are there few or many? Who am I talking to today? Is there a new career in your future? Much like the Israelites in Egypt, perhaps you found yourself working for the same institution for years, overworked and undervalued with little chance of promotion. Perhaps God is calling you to spy out a new company and assess its structures, capabilities, organizations, people, and events. Next, there's terrain-oriented reconnaissance, which is a survey of the terrain, its features, the weather, or other natural observations. When Moses sent them off to scout out Canaan, he said, observe the land. Is it pleasant or harsh? And the soil, is it fertile or barren? Are there forests? And try to bring back a sample of the produce that grows there. This is the season for first ripe grapes. What areas in your life are proving to be unfruitful in this season? Is it time for you to focus your your energies in a new area? Perhaps a divorce has dried you out. Legal woes have withered you. You've been farming the same fears and plowing the same problems only to reap an ever increasing harvest of hardships. Maybe in this next season, you won't have to work so hard to get so little. Perhaps God is summoning you to survey new soil where your seeds, though sown in tears, will reap a harvest of joy. And lastly, there's force-oriented reconnaissance, which focuses on the enemy forces. He says, describe the towns where they live. Are they open camps or fortified with walls? In essence, what Moses is really asking is, are we going to have to do this the easy way or the hard way? And employing this reconnaissance tactic is what makes recon so vital to any mission. You need to know what you're up against. Some of you are afraid to scope out something new because of the scope of work it will take on your part. You've been so used to doing things the easy way that you'd rather just walk into an open camp than have to break down a fortified wall. But I can hear somebody asking, why recon? As their commander, Moses mobilized the stealthy reconnaissance method to avoid detection by the enemy and delivered a decisive and detailed directive on what data was needed before the people could enter the promised land. His primary objective was to gain information about the productivity of the land and the defensive strength of its inhabitants. What are you talking about, Tish? I'm saying that when faced with unprecedented circumstances and uncharted territory in life, our default is to engage in aggressive recon with bold identification, taking what we want armed with infinite inspiration and little to no information. Before engaging in any new opportunity, you ought to ask yourself what you need to know about it and move to obtain the information on it. You need to do some recon. Can I help you? If in fact recon is the preliminary and especially exploratory survey of a thing, then guess what? Dating is recon for relationship. Babysitting is recon for parenting. Interviewing is recon for an employer. Saving is recon for investing. Mentorship is recon for entrepreneurship. Simply put, you've got to scope it before you seize it. One more time, you've got to scope it before you seize it. This is the unique opportunity God was providing for the children of Israel, and the same opportunity God wants to provide for you. How many times have you hoped for a hint? How often have you prayed for a peek into the promise? Someone right now is standing on the cusp of the desert and the promised land, and you're wondering if this is the time to mobilize. If that's you, I've got good news for you tonight. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, God would allow you to be an active participant in procuring your promise. Can I prove it to you? When you're buying a house and you're nearly at the point of signing on the dotted line and closing the contract, you'll get to do what is called a final walkthrough or a home inspection of your property before closing day. The final walkthrough is your chance to make sure everything is in order and that your new home is ready for you. It's a walk through the house you're about to inhabit. It's an opportunity for you and your real estate agent to spend a few hours looking over the place, room by room, closet by closet, cabinet by cabinet, inside out, to check that everything works as it should. Well, the exodus from their encapsulation in Egypt made the Israelites temporary tenants of the desert terrain. But here, God gives the children of Israel a walkthrough of the brand new home he's procured and promised for them in the penthouses of the promised land. TFC, you ought to get excited about a God who has scheduled a walkthrough just for you. Simply put, sometimes God provides you a unique opportunity to walk through it before you walk in it. Sometimes God provides you a unique opportunity to walk through it before you walk in it. That's what God did here with the 12 spies. They weren't the only ones doing recon. By the time they walked through it, God had already secured it. It's right here. Send men to scout out the country of Canaan that I am giving to the people of Israel. Now get excited, because God has also done some recon just for you. What you thought destroyed, God has reconstructed. What you thought unforgivable, God has reconciled. What you thought dysfunctional, God has reconfigured. What you thought dead, God has reconfirmed. What you thought deserted, God has reconditioned. What you thought wrecked, God has reconnected. What you thought disseminated, God has reconvened. And over this last year and a half, what we thought was church, God has reconceptualized. I just came to say tonight that I know some of you feel that you are on the cusp of war right now and you really need a break, that you are moments away from engaging in battle and you need a break. But here's the good news. Recon is all that's required of you right now. Thank you, TFC, for the opportunity and this time to share. If you need a break, maybe you're ripe for recon. God bless you.